Okay. Oh, okay, we're back to our big screen. I'm just checking into the chat. Marie, I see probably some beautiful comments and things like that. So yeah, keep an eye on the chat. Nice face. Thank you. Lots of thank yous. Muchas gracias. And where is Sotria? Now that I've reopened my screen. There you are, dear. Okay. So I'll spotlight you. Great. Okay. So warm and heartfelt welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Kristen, for the welcome. Thank you, Marie, for the movement therapy. I am going right in with a technical question. If I want to see all of you, and I don't want to see myself, but you have me pinned, can I do that? Because when I changed the multi-speaker and then my hand rose. So can you still see me as a pin?
We see you as the full screen for the recording, Soti, and then if you
Amazing.
want to see everyone, if you go to the top right, try to see
Yeah,
the
I did it.
gallery. Does it work?
Yeah, it worked. I
Great, of
just didn't want to mess something up because I really want to see
course.
everyone.
Great.
All right. So, hello, hello. We are transitioning. Just notice what it feels like in your body, being in your body through movement, and then coming into this space again. Like what's happening now? So, I know when I arrive to a space that I'm holding, oftentimes there is a nervous charge. Feels like butterflies. It feels like just a lot of chi in my body. And what I learned was there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me, but there is contact, there's relationship, and there's responsibility. So in this space together, in this time together, we'll be exploring what happens in our body when we are holding space. And how do we continue to regulate ourselves? And it's very unique to each of us. So, first, I really want to normalize when we arrive as space holders, the charge, what happens in our bodies. I want to normalize whatever it is. If it's anxiousness, if it's feeling into other people's nervous systems, if it's this pressure to deliver, it's all part of it. And with the somatic coherence, when I say this word somatic coherence, it's not about being settled or calm or having it all together. What I'm talking about is being honest with your relationship to yourself and what's arising physically, energetically, what you're picking up in the space. And even like including that, naming that, and this gift of the present moment, how it can ripple out into the spaces that we hold and give others permission to maybe slow down a little bit or trust or feel regulated. You know, there's a co-regulation that can happen. So before I say any more, I would love to hear from a couple of you through the chat or unmute yourself, just how we're arriving into this space. It could be one word or a short sentence. And I'd love to hear from everyone through voice. And since this is a small container, we won't do that. So, how are you arriving now in this moment? You know, I feel calmer, still a little jittery and tender. If you want to unmute yourself, go for it.
I'll share quickly that I arrived just with so much excitement. And of course, all of the logistical things that need to pull together to pull something like this off. So there was a blend of like excitement and oof, a little bit of pressure on myself
Mm.
and some anxiousness and yeah, just an overwhelming sense of joy seeing everyone when we first logged on. And then after Marie's segment and just this inquiry that you've invited us into, Soteria, I feel much more like out of the mind and into the body.
Mm.
And I even noticed this season that it is outside and then the season that I feel I'm in within. And I was like, okay, like, and I just like brought it all down into like what I feel like I need is like a deep winter moment. So that's how I arrived. And now through that practice and coming in with you, I'm feeling much more like ease,
Mm.
ease. I saw ease come up and I'm like, yeah, that's how I
Mhm.
feel. Ease. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kristen, for that share. Yeah. I'm also seeing open-minded, grounded, excited to learn, tired, sore, lightened, calmer. Yeah, it's important to keep checking, keep noticing. So I just want to take a moment. When I transition between the next thing, I like to like close my eyes. So again, me naming my present moment process with you all as a space holder, for me, it gives me so much calm and ground. So I can move to the next thing, not from a performative place. So I want to take a moment and just close my eyes and see what else is here. So what if somatic coherence, what if it's not about needing to be settled? Again, what if it's just about being honest to the moment? I really want to like plant that as an anchor point. And I want to speak to the different modalities. I'm assuming you all have some kind of practice that you do to connect to yourself, mini meditations. I like using essential oils on acupuncture points. So just bring in the variety of tools you have in your medicine bag for your own practice, as well as the spaces that you hold, the spaces you tend to, just to like bring those allies in. And I would like to guide us through an arrival practice. Again, just to kind of settle in. And as, or shall I say, before we do that, I want you to think about, or more accurately, I want you to feel what happens in your body when you hear me say, when you hold space, is there often an energy, a charge, a signature that you come in with when you're holding spaces? So just to feel that, and maybe your body starts doing something when you imagine yourself having to be the space holder. What happens in your body? What energy are you bringing? Is it excitement? Is it nervousness? Is it both? And just feel that for a moment. Or maybe it's not even a feeling, but it's a sensation. Maybe you feel your chest respond, or you feel energy go up into your head. And you feel this openness, like, yeah, I'm ready. There's no wrong answer. You just feel it. And maybe take a breath if that feels right for you and just let that fade away, shake that off. And I would like to guide us into a deeper arrival practice. where we slow down together. So let's take a moment to arrive here. We're not trying to do anything, just to notice. If it feels right and you haven't already, just allow the curtains of your eyelids to close. Gently drawing awareness inward. Not away from the world, but towards the center of your experience. And imagine this inner eye shining down on your body like landscape, not to analyze or fix, to just notice what's here. And perhaps in this landscape, we feel breath as wind. Bones resting like canyons, sensation arising, passing like weather. Nothing to fix, nothing to perform, just noticing how you arrive and allowing that to be included. And can we be slow enough for the truth to show itself? What's here? Slowly allow your breath to stretch, elongating the inhalation, maybe a hold, exhalation. And when you feel ready, slowly open your eyes as if they were the rising of sun. Just taking in more light. So this first phase was arrival as practice, and how we arrive sets the tone. We don't have to be calm. We just have to be true to the moment and lead with that so people can feel our humanity. So this second phase is presence as vessel. And what I like to imagine is that the teacher's body is a vessel. We're creating a container in ourselves so that we can be with our own charge to direct and redirect the energy within the greater container, this vessel that we're holding, that we're all contributing to. And the way that I like to feel it is that coherence is kind of like this invisible scaffolding. It's the connective tissue. Being true to the moment helps to create that web. And deepening our presence to what is allows these two elements to be part of the soup, the ecology that we're all creating when we're in a shared space together. So the teacher's body as vessel is a way that I imagine it. And then I also want to say presence doesn't have to be calm and meditative. It can be very active. It can be very yang. It's like the two spark space. It's it's spontaneity, it's improv. So here I want us to feel and maybe close your eyes because for me closing my eyes helps me to feel, gets me out of my mind. What I would like for us to inquire about is what does presence feel like when you sense the quality of presence, either in yourself or another? What happens in your experience? And if you want, you can unmute and just say a word or a short sentence, or you can write it in the chat.
I notice that all of my senses are more engaged, so I'll smell more, I'll feel more.
Mhm. Yeah. So there's this heightened awareness of your sensory experience. Grounded and tired, calm, connection. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. You can still continue to pop some messages in there and I'll read them. So I also, as key anchor points into this presence piece, is that our nervous systems, our bodies, are reading the room before the mind understands anything. Do you know what I mean? If wiggly fingers, if you understand this, that our nervous systems are picking up on things in ourselves and others before the mind can understand anything. So our capacity to build a somatic body to hold all these little nuances can be tricky, can be um, inspiring. And so I just want to name that it takes a certain kind of nervous system to be able to like feel all the subtle things and still say focus with what we're teaching, what we're sharing. So how do you build your somatic capacity? What are things that you do in life as practice when you're leading? Yeah, I want to read the chat a little bit. Where energy may be stuck in my body. Uh-huh. A sensation of leaning forward. Yeah. Like a light that can shine further. Clarity, non-judgment, mental, non-judgment. Why can't I say the word? Non-judgmental. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, regulating in the moment. Yeah. So I just want to take a moment to just be in silence together. How can we regulate in this moment together? I'm gonna take a breath. I'm looking at the time. So I kind of want to hear from you all. And there's something about before you begin to speak or guide or lead, what do you need? What do you need to feel like organized in your system to be able to lead? So when it's your time to speak, yeah, to pause. Mhm. Yeah. And again, in this somatic coherence, what I like to do myself and what I invite others into is, and this is why I like to call them inquiries. because I don't want to just answer from my mind. Our minds are brilliant and we know a lot about ourselves. Sometimes just closing your eyes, I like to call it like a sacred sentence where you ask the sentence inwardly and you just see what pops up. And it might surprise you. And it might come in the form of a color or a shape or a word. And so just go in. Before you guide or speak, what does your nervous system need in order to feel organized enough to lead? And then notice what happens. Centering self, breath, pause. Yeah, giving ourselves permission to slow down. Hmm. And so this next phase is deepening a little bit more into that. And as we do it together, there is something about this co-regulation in group shared spaces that I believe that we remember. And in that remembrance, for me, the more that I am part of shared spaces where I can be more myself and I can feel regulated, the more I can carry that with me in other spaces. So for this next phase, I like to call it direct access. Having direct access to your center, to your dantian. And it's a 3-part practice of self-anchoring, nervous system awareness, and then field awareness. Right? And so it's kind of like that saying that when you're on an airplane, put your mask on first before you help others. Like dipping down into self first. So we'll go ahead and do another practice. And even when I say do another practice, that sounds a little weird. I don't want us to do anything. I actually want us to listen rather than doing. So that we can feel a felt reference for what coherence might feel like, sound like in your experience. So we'll begin by anchoring into the body as it is. And just feeling simple points of contact. Your feet on the ground, the bones of your pelvis sinking into seat. Allowing breath to be as it is. Gently name one internal sensation that's most present silently and let yourself rest there for a few moments. And in the spirit of this sacred sentence, this somatic inquiry, ask your body intelligence, what does my anchor feel like, look like, sound like now, in this moment? And just notice the first sensation, color, And how much of you can trust that that's the answer right now? And ask for there to be a firmly established anchor in body. Be a comrade with your body. Say, firmly establish this anchor so that I can return back to it when I need to. From this anchor, notice your nervous system tone. Any sense of charge, ease, expansion. And without trying to adjust or improve it, feel you as you are. Then notice what happens in your body and your experience when you hear me say, zoom out a little more, widen awareness to include the space around you, the room you're in, the environment, the space that might actually be holding you. And the subtle senses of this shared presence across the screen. And how much of us can allow this presence to be enough? Just allowing this awareness to organize itself naturally. Maybe this is our somatic orientation. Allow yourself to breathe with a little bit more intention by stretching the inhalation and exhalation. When you feel ready, you can just do whatever needs to be done. Move a little, open your eyes, maybe make a sound. Movement's part of regulation when we're in shared spaces. I also want to normalize that. And so this last phase is checking the vessel, just coming back to. So before cues, before sequence, before we share information, can we come in and check this vessel? See where we're leading with, see what kind of energy. Are we fast? Are we in our minds? Do we have an agenda? And if so, okay, welcome that. Just having an awareness, like what's happening in you right now as you guide and lead. So I want to take a moment and again hear from you all. And yeah, if there's anything that you want to say about your experience and how your nervous system shapes the space that you're in.
Am I
What?
unmuted?
Yeah,
Yes.
unmute. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
Hi, Peter.
well I was feeling an energy all through my body, and I was trying to come up with a word that would actually describe it, and couldn't really. And then I had an image all of a sudden of a rock in a stream, um, fast moving stream, and the water was um, going up against it and lapping over a little bit, and then a awareness that I was not just the rock, which is what I thought I was at first, or
Mhm.
just the water. I was actually both. And then when we did the thing where we where we became aware of our space around us as we were widening out a little bit, I kind of felt myself dissolving into the space, and the space dissolving into me. If I can, that's the best way I can describe it. So it was quite a deep experience for me.
Mhm. Hmm. I notice there's a lot of heat in my face, and I'm smiling,
Yeah,
and I feel, yeah, this kind of rush of nourishment. Like, yeah.
it was a very yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Hmm. Thank you for allowing yourself to have that experience and sharing it. Yeah. I want to check the chat. If anyone else wants to unmute, I'm just reading off trust, a feeling of being centered and grounded, dissolving into the space. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want to look at the clock. Okay, we still have 7 minutes. Woohoo. Wait, yeah, 7 minutes. Okay, I'd love to hear from someone else. Either what's alive right now, like what your experience was. If Yeah, if you notice anything about how your presence shapes the space. I'm gonna check the chat. Okay. Hmm.
I do want to say that there's one thing that I really loved that you
Mhm.
mentioned, that it was that presence doesn't always need to be like contained, and I forgot the exact words you were using, but like kind of
Mhm.
like quiet
Passive.
or
Yeah.
passive.
Yeah, quiet, calm.
Right. And yeah, I just felt very heard by that,
Mm.
because I tend to be more, my presence tends to be more, yeah, like Latina.
See?
So
Thank you.
I just loved it.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Lalita. Yeah, I just want to slip in there. In Chinese medicine, like the culmination of presence is actually the fire element. So it's very yang. It's this integrated consciousness, and it's like it's sparkly. It's you know? Yeah. Hey, no one's jumping. Let's see. Uh, Transformation happening, tingling, peaceful comfort, beautiful. I notice that the world around this body is a reflection of how this mind witnesses the world. Yes. Hmm. Yes, thank you. Okay. So we have about 6 minutes. And I want to close my eyes because I don't know what I'm like, how do we close together? How do we close this? So for me, what I need to organize myself when I hold space is actually to tell people I need to check my vessel. I need to go inward for a moment. So I'm going to close my eyes because I notice that when I have a decision to make, if there's too much energy, too much stimulus out here, I can't really make a decision. So going inward and allowing me to just pause. Yeah, so as I hold my heart and ask like how to close, I feel, well, I hear the word question, and I'm wondering if there's any question that feels like it wants to be asked. And I'll just leave like 20 seconds for someone to ask a question. And if not, we'll go into a close, a sealing up of energy.
I have a quick reflection and also a question for you,
Yeah.
Satya,
Yeah.
because you're so wise in your craft, and just being in your presence, my nervous system feels much more regulated. So my question, well, first, the reflection is that I often notice when sitting in a circle with you, whether it's online or in person, you speak your truth. You're so honest about like, wow, in this moment, I feel this, like maybe it's nervousness or whatever it is, but you own it and you show up and it's honest. And I've always found that the whole energy of the group then softens. And I've taken that from you of like just showing up authentically. And so I'm curious, my quick question is just, what would you say is like one tip that you can offer anyone here? Whether it's, anyone who's a teacher, a guide, a space holder, or anyone who is stepping into a circle, like what's one tip that you can offer that they can just put into their toolbox and take home with them?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kristen. What I will say is speaking in front of a group was absolutely terrifying for me. I spent 25 years hiding in a room with one other person doing healing arts. And so I thought that I just felt too much, that I was too empathic to be a space holder. And through somatics that work and authentic relating, it was the portal that gave me permission that, oh, actually, I can just name my present moment experience. So the process which I am in is the truth that I am swimming in. And if this truth is actually blocking me from connection, it feels like the only way to create a bridge of connection is by giving myself permission to be human in that moment and saying, I'm scared right now. Or maybe it's like, I can't really speak because there's constriction here. So for me, the magic of being able to actually say yes to these things is naming the process I'm in moment to moment and reading the room and attuning. It's not about radical honesty. It's is what I'm sharing in service to connection. Yeah. So the tip, how much courage do you have moment to moment to really be with yourself and be like, this is what's happening. And I offer it because I want to connect. Yeah. Okay, 11:44. These are power numbers for me. So let's take a moment. Close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Move. Stretch. I've been taking my opposite hand on the opposite shoulder and squeezing the trap muscle and then turning the opposite way and turning back to center. And that's been really helping my neck and my brain. Oof. And so as we seal off this energy together, my prayer for you, for us, is that may we lean into being courageous, to be ourselves, and to find our own unique way to honor what's happening in our bodies and bring that to the relationship. Aho, namaste. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, beautiful Soteria. Thank you. Thank you. Muchas gracias. And again, if any questions do arise, please post them in the chat. We'll keep track of them and get back to you. I'm just going to, again, pause the recording and we'll go from there.